welcome to today's Woof Talk with DelMonte, who's the animal communicator, psychic, intuitive, medium for animals, and spirit and empath, who also has expertise in behavioral problems and locating lost animals. So that's actually a lot of titles, Diana, I must say. And today I also prepared questions regarding those behavioral issues you're working with, and also your work with animals which are lost. So yeah, welcome. Thank you for meeting with me and with our lovely girls today. I'm really happy that you want to share a little bit of your knowledge and experience with us tonight about your amazing work, which I got really passionate about once I read the book "Why You Should Listen When Your Animals Don't: How Your Animals' Behavior and Health Mirror Who You Are." Very interesting topic. It really changed the way I started perceiving animals and their so-called behavioral issues, or rather, their people's behavioral issues. I suppose. So, Dana, my first question, very general question, is what is actually animal communication and what does the animal communicator do?
Yes, animal communication is such a natural way of communicating with all life. All of us have the ability because we're all using all of our senses all the time. And so natural, we're not even aware of it. So, for example, we have images in our mind. If you think about a friend, you cannot think about anyone or have a memory without that image in your mind. Everything is a picture. Animals pick up the picture, they can see the pictures in your mind. Animals can see them. And so when we do animal communication, we just learn to become more aware of the pictures because your animals are also sending you pictures. It's not just pictures, it's auditory. So you have thoughts in your mind, obviously, and sometimes you can really hear your thoughts, especially if you get quiet enough. Most of the time, we don't even know what we're thinking. That's why we have animals with behavior problems.
Oh, yeah.
But if we become more aware of our thinking and more aware of what we're sending out and more aware of what we're hearing because it might be your animal speaking to you. And then the other thing is your body. We have feelings and emotions, and sometimes or most of the time we can pick up what the animal is feeling. So you may feel something in yourself, but it might be really yourself picking up that in the animal. So that's what animal communication is. It's becoming more aware of these natural abilities and these senses, the clairvoyance, the clairaudience, the clairsentience that we all are born with. So it's nothing out of the ordinary. It's very natural.
It is. So is everyone able to learn how to do it? What do you think?
Everybody. It's so interesting because when I do a workshop, the first 2 hours, after the first 2 hours on the first morning, everybody's doing it. But then there's always somebody in every class who thinks they're not getting it. They are getting it, but they never know that they are, and they think they're not. And then they're the ones that do the best, not the best, but they're the ones that become like the most, confident at the end. It's funny how we doubt ourselves. So, but that's the whole, we have to learn to trust what we hear, to get over our own doubts. And it's just like a writer has to just be a free flow and get that critic out of the mind. It's the same thing with animal communication, because the intellect is always what's the word, getting in the way of the intuition. You feel something and then the intellect says, oh no, it was your imagination, that sort of thing. So you have to not listen to that critic, and you have to really trust your gut.
Exactly. And what is helpful in order to start off? M- do you recommend daily meditation or some like certain kind of practice, like spiritual practice, which is very helpful in quieting the mind in order to hear your intuition, actually?
Yes, there's a meditation is so important because our minds are so busy.
Hmm.
In fact, our animals are often trying to get through to us, but they can't because we don't. Our minds are like static. It's just noise, noise, noise. So meditation helps you. Just what I do before every session, because I'm not, I meditate twice a day, but I don't hold that wonderful, peaceful space all day long. I'm just like everybody else. So that's why I meditate. I'm trying to like become more and more calm in the mind. So what you do is breathe, just follow your breathing, or drop down to your heart center, like bring your attention out of your mind into your body. Become aware of your feet against the floor, your seat against the chair, your heartbeat, every sensation in your body, and you just um, follow your breath. Feel the warmth coming in. I mean, the coolness coming in, the warm breath going out. Just really become in the body. So that really helps. So yes, meditation, and then a practice. When I first heard my animals, and I wasn't sure, and so I read a book, and I had the introduction course, which will really get you going. But I'm pointing to Louise. But when I first started, I just practiced with my own animals. You can all practice by uh, sending them a picture of what you want them to do. Like come sit on your lap, like if they're in the other room or even in the same room, sleeping or something. Just imagine them coming onto your lap. Just imagine what you want them to do, but visually in your mind. You see, just see the pictures in your mind of them coming over and getting petted, and then you verbally in your mind you can say, come and sit on my lap,
Mhm.
and see if they do. And if they don't, well, maybe they don't feel like it, so just don't be discouraged. So you can practice that way. Send your animal pictures.
Yes, I agree. Recently, I visited a cat and I actually gave it a go, and I sent the image combined with verbal asking for showing me the favorite spot in the apartment that cat liked to sleep in. And I got really surprised because the cat just got up and actually showed me the bathroom where it just lay down next to his litter box and started getting chilled and relaxed. So that was a
Wow.
very unexpected, very unexpected place to show me, to be honest, because once I asked him to show me the place, my mind started to project what kind of place it should have been, and suddenly I got really surprised to see that it was actually a totally different place. So
That's a really good point,
yeah.
because that's how you know that you're communicating with an animal when it's not what you think.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'll hear something and it's nothing like I would have thought, you know, and so when they do something like that, then that they're really truly showing you. And
Yes.
sometimes you don't even have to do it mentally. You can just ask them, because they do understand.
Mhm. That's so true. Oh, that's so exciting. Once you really, go deeper into this world, everything starts to be more magical, really. And you just, right, take advantage of every opportunity to talk to the animal. And this is so amazing.
And that's another thing too. A good way to practice, because you would ask about that, is to work with wild animals in your backyard, because this way, if you work with a friends, my advice is don't work with don't work with friends, because I don't know, we want to be right, and then if we're not, we don't know what they're thinking, and the ego gets in the way. When you're working with a stranger, that's good, or a stranger's animal, or when you're working with an animal in your backyard, this way if they hear you and they respond, then that's your validation that you're communicating, and it's just between you and your animal. It's to build your own confidence.
Right. Yes, I agree. I definitely agree. So, Diana, what are the behavioral cases? Because that's really something I'm interested in. What are the behavioral cases people more often contact you to receive help with? What are the categories, let's say?
It's usually peeing or aggression. Usually, it's a lot of things, but it's usually those two.
Mhm. And what are
Yeah.
uh-huh. Yes, I
No.
wanted to ask, and what's the, of course, like I suppose I can imagine that obviously every case is individual and different, but what are the main reasons behind those two so-called, again, so-called behavioral issues of the animals
Okay.
you work with?
There's so many. For one, okay, let me just th- th- let me put it this way. There's so much. It's oftentimes, okay, I would say it's oftentimes when sometimes we're not being honest with our animal. Not that we're not being untruthful, but we're not telling our animals everything.
Mm,
Maybe we assume that they don't need to know, or they don't, or maybe we assume that they already know, or maybe we just forget. A quick example: dog peeing, pooping in the bedroom. And it turned out, and I'm making these stories very short because they're long. They're all long and sometimes very complicated, and you have to keep peeling the layers to get to the root cause. But I'm making it really short here. Dog pooping in the bedroom. And he kept saying to me, I don't want to be left alone. No, I don't want to be alone. And the people had no idea what I was talking about because they never leave him alone.
mm,
They work at home, they take him everywhere. They have no idea. So I had 3 sessions with this dog. He wasn't improving. He continued to poop on the carpet. And I kept hearing the same thing. I don't want to be alone. So finally I gave up. And I just said, I don't know how to help you. Maybe call another communicator. Maybe I'm missing something. So we're
mhm.
just about to hang up, and I'm talking to her just casually on the phone. And she says, yeah, my husband and I are going on vacation in a couple of weeks. I said, you're leaving your dog. Have you told him? And she said, oh my God, no, I haven't. And I'm getting goosebumps. So the poor little, his name was Monster. He was a little bulldog. So he didn't know where they were going. Now just imagine, your partner leaving. You want to know where they're going, when they're coming back, who are they going with, who's going to take care of you when they're gone. So we really need to fill in everything. Tell your animals everything. Don't assume
Mhm.
that they know. That's one thing. Aggression. Um, when we're not being mindful of our thoughts, let's say your animals fight. And so now you're anticipating it. Maybe you're afraid to have them in the room together. It's hard not to anticipate it once
Yes.
it's already happened. But this one case, the woman started to realize, I kept saying it was her. She kept saying, no, no, no. And but then she realized that when she wasn't home, I guess she had a husband. I mean, she knew when she wasn't home, it didn't have, they weren't fighting.
Mm,
And when she wasn't in the same room with them,
yes.
they weren't fighting. So she realized it was her. So she had to like consciously make an effort to stop thinking about them fighting, because they will do what they see in your mind. Not that they're robots,
Mhm.
but I mean, if you're thinking about them fighting, they think, oh, they want us to fight, or whatever whatever they're thinking, but they mirror your thoughts. So you
Yes.
have to be careful, be aware of what you're thinking. You don't want to send them the wrong message. Um, so you always want to tell them what you want them to do,
Mhm.
not what you don't want them to do.
Mhm.
And you probably know that anyway as a trainer. But okay, like aggression. Another reason for peeing and pooping and aggression. So it could be very oftentimes you're repressing your emotions.
Wow.
There's things that you haven't dealt with, or there's things that you just haven't come out and told that person. You're holding things back, unresolved issues.
Yes.
And so another example was a woman. There's so many examples. I wrote them down so I wouldn't
That's
forget.
good. That's
Well,
we want them all.
here's a quick, here's a quick one. A dog was biting the brother,
Mhm.
the woman's brother. And when I asked the dog why he was doing it, I heard, he's a pain in the ass. He doesn't do any work around the house. And, I was sort of embarrassed. I told the woman, and, she was shocked because it was true. Her brother was living with her, wasn't doing a thing around the house, just sitting on the couch, not contributing in any way. And but the animals don't care what you do. So it was the woman. She
Mhm.
wasn't telling her brother how she felt. She was holding it in, and the poor little animal was speaking up for her and
Mhm.
telling the brother because she wasn't.
Mhm.
And I, at the time, this was like a really quick 15-minute session in a public event, and I didn't make that connection that it was her. I didn't make that connection, and then she left, so I never got a chance to tell her, and I don't know what happened, but she had said if the dog doesn't stop biting my brother, I'll have to take him back to the rescue. And it's just so sad.
Yeah.
So, things like this, and I have a trillion million, examples. I mean, I'll stop there, but it's very oftentimes, even when you take an animal in, you've only had them for 4 months, and you think, well, they have trauma from their past. It's not me. Very true. It could be the animal's trauma,
Mhm.
but it also could be you, because you could be reacting to the way the animal's behaving and making it kind of worse. Um, and a quick example of that was this one dog who was lunging at other dogs. So I was doing some tapping with him,
Mhm.
and but I also tapped the person because the animal was lunging at dogs, and maybe this was the animal's issue, but the person now, because of this behavior, when he saw a dog coming, he'd cross the street with the dog, or he'd pull back on the leash, or even if you're not pulling back on the leash, you're maybe like constricting, like somehow inside. Animals pick that all up. So the person, again, he had to learn to relax.
Mhm.
Very often, the person needs to really totally completely relax and trust the animal. So both of them needed to have the tapping done, not just the animal. So
Mhm.
this happens a lot. One dog, the woman only had him for 4 months, and he had been used as a bait dog, in a dog fighting.
Mhm. Yes.
And so he was left to die in an abandoned building in a cage. So obviously he had trauma.
Yeah.
He was biting people in the lobby of her New York apartment. Long story short, it wasn't all his trauma. It was also the person. It was another case of the person not speaking out. It was very complicated, but the nuts and bolts here, the bottom line here was that the person was not speaking out to her husband. Her husband was traveling. She didn't like to be left alone. She was very stressed out and depressed about it. She didn't want to tell her husband because she knew he had no choice. He had to travel for his job, and she didn't want to stress her husband out. But she finally had a good talk with her husband. All the emotions came out,
Mm.
everything came out in the open, and then the dog stopped biting, nipping at people. It was mostly in the lobby,
That's
in the apartment building. So things like this happen all the time.
all the time. That this is
Separation anxiety, same thing. It's not
interesting.
always the animal.
Yes. What about separation anxiety? That's something, I mean, people contact dog behaviors a lot about. So what's your opinion about this? What's behind this behavior very often?
Well, sometimes it could be, I have to laugh because I'm thinking about this one dog, and I have it in my book. I can't even remember it all. It was so complicated. But of course it could be the animal. It can always be trauma,
Yes, yes.
left. One dog was afraid of the breeze coming in the window,
Mhm.
terrified, and they lived on a third floor or fourth floor, so it was really a lot of wind.
Mhm.
We did some tapping and there was a big improvement, but then it turned out, and I had no idea. I mean, he would really go crazy apparently. Well, it turned out, and this is why I don't like to know beforehand so that I'm not influenced by
Mhm.
any information that you might give me. So later, afterwards, they told me that the dog was a rescue from Katrina. For those of you who don't know, in the United States, there was that flooding hurricane,
Right.
and yeah, in New Orleans, and
Mhm.
it was just devastating. And a lot of animals were left stranded. You know,
Mhm.
drowned and or just left stranded, you know, on maybe a top of a car, in 8 feet of water. So anyway, so yeah, the trauma could be the animals,
Mhm.
but this one dog, for example, he was um, tearing things apart in the house. She said she couldn't leave him alone for an hour.
Mhm.
Completely bonkers when the woman left.
Mhm.
And also inside his crate, she'd crate him, it didn't work. He'd spray the walls, he'd turn over the water bottle. He was I think a Doberman. No, an Afghan. He was a strong big dog, and he got through the bars. He bent the bars of the crate. I mean, he was like just berserk. And the woman, it turned out, I mean, we did extensive work on this dog, but again, the bottom line, after peeling off the layers, the bottom line was that the woman, she had gone through, she was suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder herself,
Mhm.
and the dog was mirroring her. She had gone bankrupt, so she lost her money, she lost her home, she had to move, she didn't know where she was going to go, she lost her relationship, long-term relationship ended, and she hadn't dealt with all of the stress. So when she finally started getting help and going to a therapist and working it out, the dog totally, of course, we did tapping on the dog too, but
Mhm.
the dog completely, his behavior completely changed. So a
Mhm.
lot of times it could be the person, and there was just one more dog who was, God, it was so complicated, but he was biting the dog walker. He was peeing and pooping on the woman's shoes all over the house. And he was also going berserk, tearing the house apart. And all of
Good
this.
start.
And long story short, God, I can't hardly remember. I can't remember what the problem was. But it turned out the woman, well, the dog walker had to stop like just dragging him out from under the bed to go for a walk. He didn't want to go.
Yes.
Leave the dog alone. But but when she told the dog where they were going and
Mhm.
that they were coming back, then the dog was fine. Like he didn't really understand. I guess he didn't trust the dog walker. He
Mhm.
needed a little more explanation.
Mhm.
So then he stopped biting the dog walker. He needed to stop being crated. He was crated like 12 hours a day.
Mm.
She couldn't keep him. I said, why don't you section him off in a room instead? She couldn't do that because that's when he would bite the dog walker. But we solved the dog walker problem. The dog walker communicated with the animal. Uh, and so that resolved itself. And I don't quite remember, gee, I'm sorry. I don't quite remember what happened with the woman, but there was something that the woman had to change in her life. Uh, I don't remember. I'm sorry.
No
I,
worries.
it's in my book. I don't remember. There's so many cases,
So
but
many
you get the
cases.
picture.
Of course,
You
yes.
get the idea.
Of course, I get the idea. I hope that the rest of listeners get it too. That's amazing. I can imagine how many cases you've had for all those years of working as animal
Yeah,
communicator.
it's quite
So
a few.
yeah, of course, it's understanding. That's understandable. And Diana, I have a like that's so fascinating. And I have a question about how do you see difference in how cats, dogs, or horses, I don't know if you work with horses as well, but with horses as well. So do you see any difference in how those different species communicate with you?
Not really.
Really?
There are animals just in general. Some are more communicative.
Mhm.
Some seem to share more information than others. Usually, if I don't get any info at all, like why are you doing this, and I'm not getting anything, then I know it's a mirror because the
Mm.
animal doesn't know why they're doing it. They're
Okay.
just reacting to something the person is doing. So
Okay.
that's another clue. But I also look at the energy centers, the chakras, and if the chakras are off, uh, what's ever off balance in the animal, if those same chakras are off in the person,
Mhm.
then that gives me a sense that it might be a mirror. And then,
Mhm.
I talk to the person to find out what's going on after it's a lot of communication here from the animal to the person, from the person to the animal, it's like a therapy session, really. Um, so, so I don't really see a difference. I can't think of really any difference. I think it's pretty much just what the animal wants to share with you.
That's interesting. And like
You
it's
know,
actually yes, it's actually very good that you mentioned about working with like looking at the chakra system, etc. Because actually, my next question is about the extra tools you use. Because in one of the last emails, you mentioned about using emotional assessment and pendulum. Could you tell us a little bit more about how you use these tools in your work?
yes, I use the pendulum a lot. It tells me a lot. Well, with lost animals, I'll use it for a geographical direction,
Mhm.
north, south, east, know where the animal is, a general location. I don't douse the actual map, so
Mhm.
I can't really be more specific. But I'm learning. I'm learning different ways to be more specific. So I use it that way. I use it, well, of course, for health. um, when I do body scans, I'll do a body scan and feel things in my body that
Mhm.
the animal is feeling, and that will tell me a lot, whether I feel it's inflammation or if it feels like a blockage, or if it feels like an allergy. I don't diagnose. It's just what I feel, and then I'll go over the organs with my pendulum.
Mhm.
And so when you're healing, when I'm doing healing work, it can pick up pain in the body.
Mhm.
Pendulum can do so much. And then with the chakras, I use it a lot because for example, if an animal is lost, their root chakra, which is
Mhm.
foundation, grounding, security, that will be off balance because they're lost.
Mhm.
But sometimes the animal's not found. In a lot of cases, the one I'm working with now, animals still not found, but that root chakra is balanced. So that means either the animal is trapped,
Yes.
she's not lost, but she can't get back. Now, it's been a long time on some of them, so they can't still be trapped. They wouldn't live that long. So then we can rule that out. So it also could be that their basic needs, that grounding, is being fulfilled. In other words, they're getting food somewhere consistently, and maybe they have shelter. So that's good, because if that root chakra is balanced, then I know the animal's not wandering. Now,
Yes.
if the root chakra is off balance and the heart, no, if the root center is balanced, getting food or getting his needs met, and the heart chakra is also balanced, that means he's got a heart connection with a person. So in other words, there's a person who's feeding him. He's not just finding food every day in the dumpster in the back of the restaurant. Now there's a person who's seeing him and making some kind of contact with him. So that's how I use my pendulum. And so with the behavior problems, again, I'll look at the chakras, and let's say the animal's not telling me why he's peeing on the bed. That's another thing, a whole nother thing. Where they pee can tell you a lot. Where they're
Mhm.
what, and if they're peeing or spraying, that's another thing. And this is all in my course, my intro course
We
too,
will
as
talk
well.
about it in quite
Yeah,
soon. Yes.
there's a lot of info in that. Um, But what was I saying? Oh, so the chakras. So then I'll work with the chakras, and if if I'm not getting an answer, and so if that, let's say well, let's say let's say the throat chakra is off balance,
Mhm.
communication, self-expression, and then it's also off with the person.
Mhm.
If they're identical imbalance, then I know, okay, something's going on with the throat chakra here, and I may talk to the person, what's going on? Are you not telling something to someone?
Mhm.
One time the second chakra was off balance in both animals. And it turned out, second chakra with women, it could be sexual abuse. It could be a lot of times not nurturing ourselves, not taking care of ourselves, not express. It's your creative center, not doing things that make your heart sing. Um, so it could be all of those things. And in this one case, the woman was being abused by
Mm.
her husband, like she was still in the relationship.
Wow.
So that was like really intense. I don't even know what happened if she ever left the husband, but she was going through physical sexual abuse and
Okay.
living with the abuser.
Okay.
And her second chakra was off balance. And so was the dogs. I forgot what the dog's behavior. I mean, she called me because of the dog's behavior.
Obviously.
And then working with it, this is what we found. And she start, people, I'm often counseling the person, more than, that's how it ends up.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I see more and more often, that this is really about, mostly about people than the animals so much. Like animals are coming, sometimes that's my impression, that animals just, come with their people who need help. Not really, they.
It's so true. It's no coincidence that the animals in our lives come to us, in the way that they do. Either we attract animals to us that maybe are always ill, maybe we have that need in us to be caretakers or whatever. And it's no coincidence. We are all learning our life lessons, and our animals are here to help us do that. Usually when I work with people, I just want to say I never get information beforehand,
Mhm.
because it can influence. So like if anyone else has questions, don't tell me anything like about the story, you know. Like you said that you had her, but now she's with your family. Don't even tell me that, because I don't want to be influenced at all. So make sure that I'm getting a real clear reading, because
Exactly.
the mind wants to project and think,
Yes.
well,
Mhm.
you know. So
Yes.
just tell me the issue. Like she lunges at dogs. She's been doing it for 3 months. That's all I need to know. Okay, no,
Mm.
no story. Okay,
Yes.
until
Okay.
after. I always get the story after, but not before. Okay.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Yeah, so of course, if it comes to your website and the contact, I'm very, very happy to share it, of course, underneath the description, like in the description of the recording. So everyone can contact you for some further work, because I'd like to have some time, because it's been already 1 hour. So and we still have something to tell our listeners. So I would like to get to the courses now, just so you can talk a little bit more about the amazing courses which you have, and so people can learn the communication. Tapping work is coming, right, Diana? That's what I heard. That it's in the
Yeah.
process.
It's almost done. Almost done. Yeah.
Almost done, because I'm really, really, I mean, uh, many years ago I read a book about it, but I haven't done a lot on myself. But I heard about the possibility of using it with animals, so this is really something interesting. But for now, there are two courses which, Diana, would you like to talk a little bit more about? Because you created already two
Yes.
courses, so people can really get into animal communication. I just made this presentation here so it's more, visible. Of course, hopefully it
Okay.
works.
That's nice. I
Yes,
I
so
just
the
I know I
first
wrote
is,
it down. I wrote it down because I'm teaching a lot of things, and I I don't remember everything. And last time we had an interview, I totally forgot. So I wrote it down. So this course basically is an introduction, and it'll show you how animal communication is done, why anybody can do it, um, how it works, how it's possible. So it'll set the groundwork. And then in module 2, we talk about the four clairs, the clair audience, hearing, clair voyance, seeing, clairsentience, the body, and claircognizance, inner knowing. We talk about how we use those in our everyday life, and then how we apply it to animal communication. And then we talk the third module, how to send thoughts to animals. Fourth module, how to receive thoughts from animals. And finally, finding that still spot within,
Mhm.
learning learning how to connect psychically with an animal and finding that still spot, that quiet space. So that's that one, the intro.
Yes,
And then we have the
and I
oh,
also,
oh yes, and it comes with an ebook. Thank you. See, I always forget everything. Thank you. It comes with the ebook. This ebook, it was going to be a nice big book. I haven't done the big book yet, but it's an ebook. I forgot how many pages. I got carried away. It's a lot of photographs, like I'm an artist, and I used to be an artist, and I don't know, it's kind of like a lot of photographs in there, but all the information is in there. It's what I usually have people, because I have a video too, on YouTube, but the music on it is too loud. It's kind of annoying. It was done many, many years ago, but it's basically the book here. And so I always, when I'm doing when we're teaching a full workshop, I always have people read this book first, so that they have the foundation. And then when I do the workshop, then we can get into more advanced stuff. So this is the basic.
perfect. And I just want to say that until Tuesday, we have this special price. So instead of €55, it costs 45. And I will give you the codes, special codes at the end of the presentation. So now is the second course.
Oh, yes. Oh, so this one uh, is based on all different aspects of how animals mirror us. And so I'm going to read it from my book here. So like module 1, for example, is, what happens when, like I explained before, when we're not honest with ourselves, or we're not being honest with our animals, and how they mirror us. The next module is what happens when you're not observing your thoughts. You're not mindful of what you're thinking. The next module is how animals mirror our unresolved emotions, things that we really haven't dealt with. Um, then we talk a little bit about animals as empaths, and how, because they're natural empaths, how they can mirror our diseases, how they, just in general, how they are as very sensitive beings in our lives. And then disease, how sometimes our emotions, our repressed emotions and feelings can influence their diseases. Um, yeah, I give examples. I won't get it. I always want to I could give you a million examples, but I won't give you any examples now. But that's one way. And then also when they're dying, how our emotions, how our thoughts can influence whether they're dying, the dying process is going to be peaceful or not. It has a lot to do with how we're thinking and what we're projecting onto them. So we talk a little bit about that. And then why animals leave home when they go missing. Not all the time. I don't find this very often, but there's times when it is because of something that we're doing. And then there's 5 ways uh, that to listen to animals. That's, I think, in the book. There's an ebook that goes with this as well.
Yes.
And this is the paperback, and this is my little 60 page. This is 100 something. This is 170 pages, and the ebook is 60. So it's like a little mini version.
Mhm. And then there is this course summary.
Oh, and then see, thank you.
It
And the
could be
course
prepared the
summary.
presentation.
I forget, this is for, it's a summary of the whole course, but also if you're teaching, if you people are out there wanting, if you're already animal communicators and you want to start working with people, take on resolving problems with other people's animals, this is a little bit more a tightening up of, how you would go about resolving an issue.
Exactly. Exactly. No, I love the courses. I mean, oh, I can definitely recommend them. So
Oh, a
yeah.
new one. Oh, go
Sorry.
ahead.
Yes, and I just
No,
wanted to
go.
mention that until Tuesday there's also this special price instead of 120 euro, 100. And how to use the discounts? Maybe I will just quickly talk about it. So you can take a picture of the website courses.humananimalproject.com, and once you go there, you can find those two lovely courses available. So on the first one, which Diana talked about, you have to use the code WoofTalk1 in order to get 10 euro discount, and on the other one, WoofTalk 2, so it doesn't get too complicated, and then it's minus 20 euro. And if you want to those two courses, then you can just use the code surprise and see how much you save in that case. so that's even more than 30 euros. So that's just one more thing. Yeah, so as I mentioned, the codes are valid till 20th. So there, it's like still 2 days, 2 days to go. And yeah, and of course, if you have any questions, you can write me. I can also type my email in. So if you have questions about the course, what it includes, or I don't know, like how long it lasts, you can just let me know, and of course, I will respond to it. So my email, I will just put in the chat right now, the easier one. So you can just, email me and ask your questions. Oh my goodness, that's been a long, long talk, Diana. I'm so happy
I
about it.
know. My my next course coming up probably in a week. It should be done in a week. Is death and dying in the afterlife.
Perfect. Definitely, yes. It's such an important topic. I'm really happy that you also included that in the second course, because even recently I met some people with really really difficult cases with their dogs passing away, and I was also doing my best to tell them how important it is not to transfer, all those emotions, which is obviously really really difficult. But yeah, but it is possible to at least find some peace and calmness within, and just bring on positive memories, right, which we of the things we discovered together, of the situations we had. Yeah. So yeah, I'm really happy about that. It's super super important. Ivona is asking how long we have the access to the content. It's actually unlimited. That's what we decided on in the beginning, at least with Diana. I think it hasn't changed, but for now it is unlimited. So you can take your time and learn. And if you have any more questions, this is time now. This is time to ask them. So just write in the chat. That will just make it much easier. Of course, it's been nice to hear voices of two of you. It's always better, but we don't have so much more time.
Oh,
So right.
here's a question. Someone, Gabricia writes, "What do you mean by the alpha thing? Is it
Ah,
only about being so confident, not according to dominance theory?"
yeah.
Oh,
I actually replied to it.
oh,
That
okay. Oh,
topic.
good.
Yes, I already replied to that. That we talked about confidence. I just clarified that. So that question I already replied to before.
I
Uh,
don't know what the dominance theory is, but you can fill me in later. I'm not sure what that
yes, this
means.
is like, yeah, something very controversial in dog training world. So that's why.
Oh, I'd love to hear about it. Okay, I'll email you.
Yes, I can send you by email because it's like that's why I just wanted to clarify it.
There
But
always, I mean,
Mhm.
isn't there always is a like a leader of the pack? I mean, even in the feline kingdom, I anytime I brought a male home, if I brought a female home, no problem. But every time I brought a male home, my cat Garfield would slug him out. I mean, vicious fighting until he established until they established their hierarchy. You know, I am the leader. And then there was no problem. They was the two fighting cats would be sleeping together, but there was always that initial hierarchy thing happening. So, and I noticed with when I do my pendulum work, the alpha is always the one. All his chakras are balanced
Mhm.
because they're confident.
Yes,
You
that's
know,
what
it's just like the A student in school.
it's like. Yeah,
They
I
don't
believe,
have to prove it. They don't have to prove anything.
yes,
They're natural leaders, and people just follow them.
that's what I
So
clear.
that's what I mean by alpha.
Exactly. That's what I clarified to Gabricia as well, because in the dog training world, actually, it has very different meaning, and there are so many, yeah,
Oh,
so many bad things going
oh,
with this label dominant. That's why it's. I can send you some
oh.
resources because I know that you work with different animals. I work mostly with dogs, so I read a lot about this. So yeah, it's just important that it came up actually. Yes, wonderful. So, do you have any more questions? Is there anything you'd like to ask Diana about? Of course, as I said, you will have Diana's email and website, so you can read much more. You can read two of her books, which are also available on Amazon, from what I know. Right? I have one of them, but there is also another one which I also found. So I really, really recommend. Okay, perfect. I think there are no questions. Probably you've answered them all for now. So I think we can just leave it here. And if anything, I will also let you know.
Actually, I have
So
one small question, but very fast,
okay,
if I may. Actually, I have question about the meditation with our animals, and
super.
maybe you can give us some tips how to prepare maybe environment for them, or in my case, how to connect with the dogs if I'm here in other city and my dogs are in the village. Maybe you could give us small tips how to prepare.
Well, you know that actually I cover that psychic connection in the introduction animal communication class course. So yeah, I go through that in the course, so that there's a way in which you can do that. You know, and really, you know, when you think about your animal and you just you're not just you're really thinking like in the heart center. You're just thinking about you are already connected. You know, you can call his name a few times. I like to see them in my mind's eye, their face, and feel them in my heart. And then you just feel, imagine that golden cord connection going out to the animal. You know, there's your connection right there. And then you can just speak telepathically and tell them things that you want them to know. But I forgot to mention, Zuza, with the first course, the communication course. I also am including, and I forgot to send them to you, and I'll try to do that. I won't try. I will do that tonight.
Oh,
Two MP3 recordings,
mm,
and one of them will be how to psychically connect. I take you through meditation where you do it with me. And
wonderful.
after you feel comfortable, you don't need the meditation, but just to get started, you can go through the meditation. And the other recording will be just general meditation to relax the body. So those will be included. That's a
Super.
good deal. You got a book and two
Very,
recordings.
very. I'm happy. Thank you.
Yes, it's really worth it. It's really worth it. So yeah, that's wonderful. I'm really looking forward to these MP3s as well. I will include them right away to the course. So so wonderful. So also people who already joined before, they can also have them and just get back to the course and go with them as well. Wonderful, Diana. Thank you so much for taking
Thank
so much
you.
time today. Thank you. It's just amazing. Okay, there is one more. Okay, that's gonna be the last question. Okay, Agnieszka, you were very lucky to that. I've just
I would love to see what everybody looks like. How come everybody's camera shy?
in Poland, people are really shy.
Oh,
Normally,
okay.
everyone is off whenever I join some Zoom meeting. So,
Really?
but girls, you can just show up if you want to. It's gonna be
It's
really
true though. A lot of people don't. No, here too in the States, a lot of people don't have them on.
I see that it's so different, but maybe it depends. It depends. Very often whenever I join some Zoom meetings, there were so many people, on the cameras, and people will just,
Mhm. Hi. Oh, it's nice to see faces. Hi.
Hi,
So cute. I
Marisha.
love your glasses.
Nice. Super. Marisha is the not the dangerous one, but this courageous one. Oh, nice. Hello. Um, Perfect. Okay, Gabrisha has lots of questions, but I think I will have time to ask them when ready. Okay, of course. I think the right time will come. And also, Agnieszka actually asked the last question. Do you know human design? Do you write charts for dogs?
What do you mean?
I
Charts?
I actually don't know.
Oh, astrology? Astrology?
I'm not sure. Agnieszka, could you clarify
I
what it?
don't know human design. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know either actually. So
Can she unmute herself and just tell us?
yeah, Agnieszka, if you want to, you can just speak up and ask a question, or you can just write in the chat so we can find out what it is. Let's see. Let's see. Is Agnieszka? Agnieszka is still here, but she's on iPhone, so I don't know how it's gonna work with unmuting, etc. So let's see. But yeah, I don't know what human design is. So okay, so forget it. That's okay. So all right, so we are forgetting it then. Yeah, okay, so again, thank you very much for joining tonight. And numbers and stuff. Okay, numerology, right? Probably.
Oh, I don't know so much about numerology. I just know the number 9 is very powerful, and I used to. Do I still? No, I used to have all my rates on my website.
Ah,
They all equal 9. You know, like $54, 5 and 4 is 9. Everything would equal 9. So I only know the number 9.
yes.
I don't really.
But
Yeah,
I
I
actually,
don't know that much. I love numerology. I just don't work with it, but
yeah,
yeah,
it
I
is
love numerology. It's
actually, it is
powerful. Yeah.
truly fascinating. And like my mom knows numerology. She also does. She started doing these human charts. Now I know what you mean. So it is powerful. I mean, I'm so fascinated every time I hear her, description of somebody who she doesn't even know, and she only has the birth date and the city the person was born. And once we actually did an experiment with one girl and her dog, and actually what my mom did about the dog, because this dog had like the girl knew the exact date when, and maybe even time when the dog was born, and actually it really matched his personality, and it was really interesting to see. So it is possible to do it for dogs, I think. But it's difficult because we very often don't know the exact day, birth date, and time.
Well, I wonder, I mean, would it work if you like the number letters of the name, like like Pigus, Piegus, number 6. I mean, I don't know if that would help. Would that would work?
This I don't know. Maybe there are different techniques,
Yeah,
but yeah, it probably goes
I
much.
don't know.
I mean, I only don't know the basics, so I'm not the expert in that. But that's a very interesting question, and from what I see, we can really use many techniques we use for people, and just take it deeper, take it on to use it with animals. So let's see how it goes, and how it develops in our world. I think it's going in a very interesting direction anyway. Wonderful. So thank you, girls, for your questions. let's have some Sunday evening, because most of us, I think, are in Poland or somewhere, around. But I know that you're just starting your day, Diana. So have a lovely day.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, have a lovely day. I'm looking forward to your MP3s. Thank you so much. I just feel
Thank you so much. This was a lot of fun.
lots of fun. Always. It's always lots of fun with you. So yeah, we will obviously be in touch, and I will inform you once we have another course release with tapping, and yeah, it's just going to be very exciting. Super. So thank you so much. Take care. And the recording will be available probably tomorrow. So Diana, of course, I will also send it to you, so you can let your listeners know, and it will be available on my YouTube channel. So you can send it to your friends too who are interested. Super. So take care. Love and blessings. Everything, like all the best wishes to you and your animals. Bye. Take care.